It is Conversations, Cocktails, and Connections time.
And I'm Amy Hester.
I am Emily Reeves.
What are we having to drink?
Okay, so we're going to make something called the Blackthorn tonight.
Ooh, are you a thorn in my side?
Sometimes. Sometimes I am.
A blackthorn?
So this is from, yet again, our favorite book, Cocktails with a Twist. And it's in the classic Manhattan section fold-out thing. And we've done a Manhattan, so we're going to do a Blackthorn. It is Irish whiskey, sweet vermouth, absinthe, which we are substituting herb saint for that.
Okay.
And who knows if I said that right? And Angostura bitters, which I'm also pretty sure I say wrong, but now it's ingrained in my head. That's how it's said, so that's how I'm saying it. But I love this Irish whiskey bottle. Look, it's called Drunken Sailor.
Oh, yeah.
And look upside down, and you see?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's like a face upside down, too.
Look at the song on the side.
Yeah, it's got like music notes and everything. So anyway, it's kind of fun. I can't speak to the whiskey. I think Matthew took some of it camping with him, and that's what's been used for.
Why do they call it Irish whiskey, you think? I mean, besides, you know what I mean? Like,
you know, if I'd done my homework, I would have looked that up so I could know. Here, I'm going to let you look at the bottle.
Okay. Well,
there you go.
Did you ever watch Peaky Blinders?
I did not.
Yeah, well, you should. It's really good. Well, no.
Is it an Irish movie or Irish show or something?
Well,
Is that
I'm going to say that, and then I might be incorrect. But I feel like some of the actors are Irish. I think it's hell. Let's just not even talk about that.
Do you want to talk about who we're going to have?
Traditional sailors see. Okay, I think I should try to sing this song. I'm just kidding now.
I mean, I know that you not so secretly want to be a singer, but we do have a guest tonight. Do you want to talk about our guest?
Yes. Stacey Bowers, come on down. I'm very excited. I've never met her. Have you? You've never met her.
I'm familiar with her jewelry because
so she is the bang up Betty.
I know, and I love her stuff. Here's what's interesting, and we'll have to tell her this when we get on the line with her. But I assumed that Bang Up Betty was like out of state. Like I thought it was much. I mean, it is a big brand, but because it's in so many places around here and like online and stuff, I kind of assumed that I didn't know she was local.
I think it's
not to discount local at all because we have so many local.
No, I mean we have some really talented artists in Little Rock.
Yeah, and she is one of them.
Yeah,
she's actually in North Little Rock,
yeah,
right?
She's in North Little Rock. And she does a lot of stamp jewelry, and like she sent us a little care package, which you know, you guys, I know I'm obsessed with stickers, and so how cute is this? Hot slice. This one's really funny. Cute. I want to dance with somebody, and it's like one of those. What do you call those things?
Oh, there's like
it's like the wind,
the air,
the tall, skinny airman.
I don't know. Puppet. I don't know, like what you see at car dealerships. Yeah.
And then she gave us some like cute little koozies, some stickers, and then this super fun charms. I can't wait to meet her and find out all the interesting things about her. I can smell.
You can smell the herb saint.
Okay.
It's licorice like.
Ooh, I'm not gonna like this drink.
But we had it in the Sazerac, and you were fine with it. But it was more like a wash. So
I knew I could smell licorice. I have a very strong scent palette.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm glad you didn't spill that on your white sweater
or on your microphone.
Yes, me too. It's very licoricey. I like it. I can tell you do not.
I will drink it.
Will you? Do you want me to like pour you like just a glass of whiskey?
Maybe so. Would you drink the rest of this?
Well, I mean, yeah, like
that's what I need. It tastes like licorice.
It does taste like licorice, but like I actually really
I
like
don't like licorice or tarragon.
And what's really interesting is that's like it's got more whiskey and vermouth in it, like the absinthe. This is like just.
I could smell it.
Mm-hmm, yeah, you can definitely smell it. So you should know anything now.
Creamy.
Like, yeah, we'll add it to the list. But like we did have this before, but it was just a wash on the glass, and so I think that's probably the difference. Because this is in the Sazerac.
Yeah.
But you don't like absinthe or
Well, if it's not, like, how much did you put in it?
Each glass has a 1/4 ounce. Each glass has an ounce of whiskey, an ounce of sweet vermouth, and a
I
quarter
mean,
ounce
that's
of
still
absinthe.
that's quite a bit. Like if you're thinking of flavoring, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're because that totally and I feel like licorice and tarragon
Mm-hmm.
is so strong of a flavor
Yeah.
that yeah.
All right. Well, let's clean
Okay.
up and talk to Stacey. Cheers.
Cheers.
Right.
I was telling Emily, I was like, I just want to call her Bang Up Betty.
You probably get that a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy. I mean, I was telling Emily too before, I was like, I love the name of that business so much. Like, it's just the coolest name. And I think it's memorable.
Well, thank you.
I'm Amy, by the way. I'm happy to meet you. It's Emily. Welcome to
Yes.
Conversations and Cocktails and Connections.
Thanks for having me. It's good to meet y'all too.
What are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking one of my signature beers, the Betty's Nice Life beer.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, so tell us how you got that. Like, how special are you that you get your own beer?
Yeah.
So my friend used to be the brewer at East Six Brewing Company, and when he first started brewing, he taught himself how to brew, and he lived in the apartment above me. And so he would bring down his samples of his new beer and let me try them. And then eventually he got this job, several years later, and we remained friends, and we were all talking about how I really like sour beer and he does too. And so we wanted to make a sour beer together, and that's kind of how it all started.
My
Awesome.
husband loves sour beers. I'm not a sour beer fan, but whenever we're out, well, when we could be out, or if he buys some and brings them home, he'll like, oh my God, this is so good. Please try it. And I'm like, Matt, I don't want to try it. Like, he's like, but it's so good. I'm like, I don't like sour beer. Stop making me try it. I'm happy that you found a beer that you like. So I think it's really cool. And now I need to tell him to get that beer.
Yeah. I know that 107 Liquor in Sherwood has it, and I'm pretty sure that Colonial has it.
I love John Crow
Yeah.
at 107.
We're definitely gonna have to get that. Well, it is a pleasure to meet you. And I was telling Amy, your brand has been around for a while now, and I assumed that it was someone from California or New York, or just like a much bigger brand than someone that was here locally in Arkansas. And I think that's a really cool thing. Like that's how your brand is portrayed in all the different places that we shop. And that's a huge accomplishment because you're sitting here in Little Rock or North Little Rock, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's all just happens in this weird little bedroom I turned into an office.
I love on your website, you're like, it all started with like in your living room.
Yep. In that apartment where the brewer was brewing beer. I was just making jewelry.
So how long have you been making your jewelry?
Well, so I learned how to make jewelry when I was in high school. At Argenta Bead Company was one of my first jobs, and I put it down for a long time and went to college. And then after that, and after some other jobs, I taught myself how to do jewelry stamping and started working with metal. And that was, I think, around 2014 is when I sort of like just got Bang Up Betty off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now that makes sense. So I think that, and I just lost time today, but I think I have the You Are My Sunshine necklace. That's one that you've made, right?
Maybe, is it a custom? I do a lot of customs.
It could be. It's been a while since I got, and then there was one that has like a gun as part of the charm.
Yeah.
And I think I probably didn't you sell on Bourbon and Boots for a while?
I did. Yeah.
So I think that, so I bought a few of your pieces when you were on Bourbon and Boots, like when it was in existence, which I know has been a long time as well. But I thought that was a cool partnership where they were kind of aggregating and bringing together some cool brands. Even if it didn't end well, it was a good idea in theory.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
So I was looking at, just like the process of when you were saying how you stamp each letter, one, like each is one at a time, right? Like each thing that you stamp is like one letter at a time. Um, do you have to wear readers now? Because I'm like, it would be so hard to just like cross-eyed, like doing each piece, which is so amazing to know that each piece is like custom hand stamped by you in your house.
Thanks. Well, my eyes are already terrible, but I'm nearsighted. So it works in my favor.
Yeah.
But you have to see a chiropractor very frequently.
Okay. I bet you
Oh.
do, because you probably are just kind of over like this a lot. So do you get a lot of stretches that are supposed to help? Because
Yeah, I did a lot of yoga before all of yoga was canceled.
yeah.
Yeah, but I did a lot of yoga and went to the chiropractor a lot.
So I'm a hairstylist, and I, in the past like 4 years or so, started just kind of really starting to feel the problems of being in the same position a lot.
Mhm.
And they say people that sit at desks and like dentists and us, like you have to just really stretch those out because they can just get so tight. Um, and Pilates helped me a lot with that. I'm just gonna tell you. Probably the same thing with yoga.
I miss yoga. I just don't have the motivation to do it on my own in my house. I used to, but
Oh, I can't do it at home. This one can. She bought a Peloton.
I know, but yeah,
She's a homebody.
I'm a homebody. I like to do things by myself. What is that behind? Is that part of your jewelry making stuff behind you?
Yes.
It looks like a crazy robot.
Short circuit.
That thing, it's a drill press, and I use it to put really big holes in the metal for like keychains and stuff like that.
Okay, so what did you start with? Like, what was the initial first thing that, like, your first design? What was it? Were you just like, I'm gonna put people's names on it, or like, did you have something in mind with the very first pieces that you started? Because now some of your pieces are funny as hell. Like, I love the, like, what's the one? Not Today, Satan.
Yeah,
I love that.
Well, I think Bang It Betty kind of started with the humor, because I used to not like to wear jewelry because I just thought it was boring. And I wanted to make my friends some funny bracelets for Christmas one year, the year before Bang It Betty. And I taught myself how to stamp. So I did 4-letter word bracelets and gave them to them for Christmas. And that's sort of the first thing of Bang It Betty, was the 4-letter word bracelets.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So maybe we can talk later, but I think it would be really fun too. I don't know if you know this, but when we cuss, we have to say, sorry, Ellen, because that's my mom, because she's very upset that I cuss on this podcast.
Like
she's embarrassed.
She listens to every episode and then messages Amy after every episode with
Don't
comments.
Be trashy, Amy.
And then comments on the fact that we cuss.
So now it just comes out, and I'm like, sorry, Ellen. So I'm like, okay, we're branding this sorry Ellen mess. I'm like, I'm gonna have a t-shirt. I'm gonna have everything. It's gonna be like, sorry Ellen. I need a bracelet.
Well, Stacey, we got this fabulous package that you sent us. So tell us about it.
Sweet.
I love your stickers and the koozies. And tell us the story behind these. We haven't opened it. We were waiting for you.
So I used to teach really fun workshops when we used to do things in person, and I've had to take them online and try to figure out how to Zoom and teach people how to make jewelry. And this is my next one I'm doing.
Where did you teach before?
At Stiff Station Gifts.
Okay.
Yeah. And these are going to be funky. It's like a girls' night in, and you get all the supplies to make funky drink markers, and you let me.
Oh, nice.
Like, when you sign up for it, you can let me know your interests so I can pick charms you'll like.
I'm putting mine on my drink.
I love it.
We made something called a Blackthorn tonight, and it has absinthe. It's actually herb saint, but it's licorice, and Amy does not care for licorice, so she is not drinking hers. I'm drinking mine, so she's drinking straight whiskey.
Yeah.
And
So I don't have I don't
so
have
she doesn't have a stemmed glass, but I do.
I chose the hatchet or wait, what would you call this? It's not a hatchet.
I think it's a butcher knife.
Butcher knife,
Butcher
thank
knife.
you. Hatchet's like what Indiana Jones uses, right? Like when you're like going through.
Maybe.
I love this because my husband likes to. These are so cute. So you're gonna do an online class to make these, and then what do you get their interest, and then you send them or they come pick it up, or you mailing it? How are you getting supplies to everybody?
I mail it. I just mail like a really cute little kit with like the tools and the beads and charms and everything you need. And then I'm going to put in special treats. So it's like a fun little event in a box.
I love that. We did a podcast a while back this summer with Jamie, and she's an art teacher, and she, had to think about new ways because she did art. Usually in the summer, she's full of like kids doing art lessons. And she came up with this like art in the box thing, and it went over really well. And I loved the idea of doing it from home, especially via Zoom or FaceTime or whatever you're doing. I mean, I think as long as you have a second or have a way to say, excuse me, help me for 1 second, I'm struggling, then you're good, because some people could probably like start and do it and be fine. But it is nice to, raise your hand.
So when are you doing the class?
It's on, I think it's January 28th. It's the very end of January.
So is it one class or is it multiple classes, or are you
this is starting as one, but if it fills up, which it's starting to, then I'll have a second one.
Oh, I love it.
That's awesome.
So when did you get into the stickers? Because these are so fun.
Well, everything about it, like even the koozies say hammered in Arkansas, which is so precious. I mean, like, I just love it.
Thank you. I started making enamel pens a few years ago because they were trending and fun. And I was like, I got an idea, I'll do one. And then it just branched out into, now I have like 20 or 30 of them. And then eventually those turn into sticker designs. And I like stickers.
I love stickers. I have a sticker pole at the salon. So these are at my salon. Literally, it is a pole that I've collected stickers. So these are going front and center on my pole.
She'll take a picture and tag you.
I'll tag you for sure. So when you started though, what was your initial, like, how did you get started? Like, where did you start selling in Little Rock? Because I know I've seen your stuff at Box Turtle, because we're big Box Turtle shoppers.
It's a domestic too, right?
Yeah. So actually, I think maybe Freckled Frog, rest in peace, was the first place that carried my stuff. Green Corner Store, Moxie, domestic, and then Bourbon and Boots, I was selling there. And then from there, I just like, this whole business has been really gradual. I've just grown it from a little thing into something that goes all over the country now.
Is this your full-time job?
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. I mean, so you started in 2014. Was it your full-time job when you started in 2014?
No, when I started, I was working at the newspaper.
Really?
So were you a journalist, or were you working like on the technical side? What were you doing?
I was an editorial assistant.
Okay.
Hey.
I bet you're glad to not be in the newspaper business anymore.
I mean, nobody's getting a newspaper anymore. So did you ever find, like, when you did work at the newspaper, just curious, because of the stamping aspect, did you go into the press part, and like, were you ever interested in actually the pressing part and printing of the newspaper?
So yes, I am interested in it. And actually I use old printing blocks in some of the stuff that I do.
That's awesome.
The printing part of it is in a completely different warehouse, so I never stepped foot into it. But when it was still like the Democrat and the Gazette before the newspaper wars, my granddaddy worked in the printing office of the Gazette for like his whole adult life. And so it's fun that he was at the newspaper, and then my sister's a writer and I was a writer. We worked at the newspaper, and now I try to use printing press stuff in my work.
That's pretty cool to bring it full circle. So do you do the design work as well on your like your stickers and your koozies and your enamel pins and all that stuff?
It's a joint effort. I'm more of like the creative director. I
Yeah.
draw out the designs, and then my friend Ashley Nobel, who does Lily Arts and Design, she computerizes them and illustrates them and makes them lovely and printable.
That's good. You've got the vision and then you've got somebody to help you execute, which is it's a good partnership.
Right.
So are you big enough? I mean, obviously your name is so out there, like you don't even have to like cold call people or people know how to find you. I mean, is it gotten easier do people sought you out, or are you still trying to like put your name at new places?
It's a little both for sure.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to find new people. And the bigger or the more we all depend on the internet, it's sort of like it's a blessing and a curse, because at the same time you can reach people
Yeah.
and be in front of them really quickly, but also like they're bombarded with like 1,000 other jewelry makers. So you have to really stick out with the bunch.
Okay. So having a business, and I just this past year have come across fair.com
Mhm.
for wholesalers. Do you do that at
Yeah.
all? Or you do? Okay. Well, I don't really sell jewelry. I mean, when I first opened, I did sell I sold jewelry. Cause I just like jewelry, but it was too hard for me to keep up because I don't have the time to go to markets. And if I found something, it was because I liked it and I tried to find it basically. But, how do you feel about those new ways of, markets?
It's good, and I have mixed feelings. So
Yeah.
as someone who I've done one wholesale market in person, and it was really frustrating, and I knew from then, like, I would rather pay someone honestly to do that for me. I don't want it, and that's not my thing. And so the whole aspect of doing everything over the internet is amazing and I love it. And Fair is really good to our customers by like offering them net 60 and all those sorts of terms that are really nice for retailers. But then again, it's sort of the same thing that I said earlier of there's my stuff. And then it's sort of like when you go on Amazon, it's like, oh, here's a cool necklace. Let us advertise 50,000 other things that are similar to it.
Yeah.
How can something be similar to what you're doing though? Because it's so, I mean, I know there's similar things, but to me, not necessarily, I mean, I've bought jewelry before, but I want custom. Like if I was buying jewelry again, which I think about it all the time, I just don't have the time to do it or the space because you had to kind of keep it going. But I mean, I think that's what's the most fun about selling jewelry in a boutique is being able to say, well, this is custom made by blah, 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 or this was handcrafted here. And when you say handcrafted, I mean, like it's literally handcrafted. It's not Amazon coming from China or, I mean, it's special. I mean, that's what's special about, artesian. What do you say? How do you say it? Artisan. Thank you. Artesian is cheese, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is.
We talk about how we
I mispronounce things all the time.
So yeah,
care.
so handmade is
but I'm just saying like it's special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What has been your most let's say your most recently popular design? Because I know you've had a lot of popular designs. What's been most recently the popular design?
Well, I'm still recovering from the fly necklace going viral at the election.
Oh my
God. It's like this like political statement plus, you know, something very unique and timely.
Yeah.
So you had a bunch of orders for that?
It was absurd.
Oh my God.
And it said
all over.
And it said I'm speaking, right?
Yeah. So I made it. So we were watching that debate and of course drunk and laughing at the fly. And I just snapped in my head. I was like, I have fly charms in my room that I bought 2 years ago and no one ever likes bug jewelry. So I just saved them. And the next morning I made that and put it online and I thought, oh, this is funny. Like no one's gonna actually buy a fly necklace, but it'll be cute to share. And it blew up beyond all recognition.
That's amazing that you already had the charms just like ready to go. And a brilliant business move.
I'm sorry. That was the fucking craziest. Sorry, Ellen. Craziest thing I've ever seen. I was like, is he stuck? Is that floss stuck on his hairspray?
I know. It
I
couldn't have
mean,
been more perfect.
I don't think that would ever happen to anybody for a fly to sit there that long. And I'm sure like gave you such an idea. I mean, as other people, I'm sure there's t-shirts and stickers and Saturday Night Live skits. But I mean, it's awesome. Have you got any other political things that you're kind of working with? Because, there's all sorts of probably ideas.
I think like half of Bang and Betty is political stuff. I've had at one point I designed the pins that like the little lapel pins that they that went with the first original, the January 2017 Women's March, the big one.
Uh-huh.
That was like I helped design their official merchandise, which is
Did you really?
That's
That's
awesome.
a great
I didn't know that's what it was at the time either. I was just working with this company called The Outrage, which I've worked with a whole bunch of times. And they were like, yeah, make us this pin for this march because they're in DC. And then they ended up partnering with the actual Women's March and it became the pin of the Women's March. It was like,
does that blow you away? I mean, does that like, are you so proud of yourself? Because I mean, that's you, that's your name, that's your business. And you were chosen to make that. That's amazing.
It was mind blowing.
Oh my gosh. That's so crazy. I'm so jealous because Emily and I take classes. We like class. I've actually taken a class at Argenta Bead Company a long time ago. So I don't know. Hell, you could have been my teacher.
Well, I haven't taught there, so it wasn't me.
Say what? She said,
you didn't
she said stiff station.
But didn't you say you worked at Argenta Bead?
I worked there. Like I was a bead chick when I was 16.
Okay. Well, I took like one class and it was enough to make me like buy all sorts of stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh. Cause my thing was the reason why I wanted to take it. I was like, I'm going to make all this stuff. I can make this stuff. Like I could never think of the design. You know what I mean? Like I would be like trying to copy, but ended up spending more money on the beads and trying to like come up with something that I was like, I'll just buy it from people.
So what's on the necklace that you're wearing right now?
This one is the Hades skull necklace, which sounds really dark and morbid.
Well, so I think you told us that you're into history and mythology, and that's kind of like your latest.
If you can see, he has little pearls.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Cute.
I love that. Yeah, I totally couldn't tell when it was like on your neck, but that is super cool.
I know somebody that would love that.
So like my hand behind this was what I've learned from teaching Zoom classes. Is putting my hand behind things.
Tell us about your latest collection that's based on Greek mythology. I want to know more about that.
So I worked on it for about 5 months last year, and it's called the Siren Collection. And I picked, I think there's 17 gods, goddesses, myths represented. And I try not to be literal with them. It's not just a bunch of like busts, like a Greek sculpture bust. It's thoughtful symbolism from the legends of the different gods and goddesses. And it was really fun. And it's all hand cast bronze. So I fabricated the charms in bronze here, all on my own.
Wow.
Tell me a little bit about that process. How does that work? I mean, how do you come up with the mold, and then how does it all come together if you fabricated it all yourself? That's really cool.
So I work in precious metal clay, and it's magical. You get this clay that is basically ground up metal with a binding agent, and you shape it. And I'm making it sound way easier than it is. It's incredibly frustrating and difficult. And if you try to learn how to do it, you're going to spend thousands of dollars and probably cry a lot before you get it right.
Oh yeah.
But in a perfect world, you shape it miraculously into exactly what you want, and then you fire it in a kiln, and the heat from the kiln burns away all the binding and just leaves a solid piece of metal.
So each piece is made with the clay.
Right.
The metal. Okay. Oh, okay. So do you have a kiln?
I do. I have 2.
Oh, Where the hell do you have it? Aren't they huge?
Yeah, I like to call it Mordor. It's my kiln room in the garage.
Wow, that's impressive.
You might not want to let people know about
I know,
that.
especially during this time when people are like, I can't get to the art center.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's for private use only.
Yeah, no one's invited. No breaking into my garage, thanks.
No.
How many hours?
You will let me know, and then I will come out with every tool in this.
Yeah. Every sharp object that can cut metal will cut your skin worse.
I have a hammer for every finger on my hands.
Oh my God. So do you feel like when you first started, was it so much trial and error that you're like, okay, well, I'm going to try this. And then how did you feel? Okay, this question is like crazy, but how did you realize what would work for your design versus what wouldn't work? You know what I mean? Like, I know there's so many different things, and I think people get on YouTube and think that they can just instantly know how to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm maybe one of those people. I'm not kidding. And I will go buy this stuff, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this is not what the person did on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, so then you end up spending more, and like, how did you know what would work for you? I mean, I'm sure you had just working in beads and stuff. Okay.
There's so much trial and error that goes into it. I mean, it's probably the first 2 years of my jewelry stamping, like it was fine then, but if like I saw a piece of it now, I would be like, don't put that on the internet. Like that is not my best work. But yeah, it's a lot of patience and figuring out this reminds me, my friend recently told me that she bought one of those like teach yourself how to stamp kits, and she was like, I don't know why I did that. Like, can you, like, I got it and I started it and I was like, this is hard, and I was like, yeah, I could have told you that.
yeah, this is why you pay me. So how did you come up, so is this logo been your same logo from the beginning?
No, I sort of, when I started out, had more of like a kind of rustic vibe, and then decided that was not my cup of tea. And so I made it more modern.
I love the cross hammers at the top.
Thank you. I actually worked that into one of the Greek mythology pieces.
Really?
I can pull it off of here. It's cross hammers on it.
Oh, I love that. So did you get into Greek mythology because you just wanted to know about it, or like learn more about it, and then you went to making the jewelry to replicate it? Or or you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then now I need to learn all the things so I can explain it to people?
Well, I was already into it, and then
I like Wonder Woman now.
I like learned about it in high school and loved it there. And like if you go to my blog post about this, actually one of my recent ones, I shared the Persephone necklace alongside a picture of me where I had to, in the 8th grade, do a presentation on Persephone and dress up as her. And I'm like a creepy goth, because she's the goddess of the underworld, and so I'm like a creepy goth kid. But so I got back into it a few years ago. My husband and I went to Greece, and so I reread all the books so I would know what I was looking at when I was there.
That's awesome. So did you grow up in North Little Rock?
Yeah.
Okay. That's real interesting. I mean, I love that kind of, I mean, I don't read a whole lot. I like audiobooks, but I do like the idea of the Greek mythology. I think that sounds really interesting.
And the symbolism.
Like I need Emily to read the book and then tell me the cliff notes.
There's 2 Greek mythology audiobooks that I listened to that were incredible.
Really?
Yeah, and one of them it came out last year, called Circe.
Okay, I was about to ask you if you read that, because it was really good, and I actually listened to that one as an audiobook as well.
Really? Ooh, I love audiobooks.
You listened to her other one, the Achilles one?
I didn't listen to the other one. Circe was the only one that I listened to.
You should listen to the Achilles one. It's really
so what does she talk about? Like, what's it about?
It's sort of like it's fiction, historical fiction that's based on myth. It's like she takes a character from Greek mythology and then kind of spins a fictional story about them that weaves in the actual myths. And so the Achilles one is more about his friend Patroclus, and it's like looking at Achilles through his friend's eyes. And I don't want to say anything else because I want you
Okay.
to listen to
I
it.
need to listen to it.
So Cersei was great though. I mean, it was really good. It's a thick book. I mean, like it's a long, I listened to it obviously, but
Yeah.
it was a long book.
I couldn't stop listening to it.
It was really good.
So
Yeah.
do you catch yourself because you're working with your hands all the time? Are you listening to audiobooks and podcasts a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
I would think that would be great. You're getting something done, but you're learning something as you're going. I mean, so how was Greece? I've always wanted to go there.
The hottest place I've ever been to.
Really?
Temperature or people?
Oh, Emily will never go there.
Temperature.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me know.
She will never go there.
There's a video I took when we were in one of the islands, I think Santorini, and there's a cat sitting on top of a cooler just panting.
The cat was? Oh dear God. Yeah, Emily will never go there ever.
Mm-mm.
But I
Cocktails,
also went in June.
conversations, cocktails, and connections is not going to Greece.
I'm gonna go to a mountaintop where it's snowy.
So, okay, so I'm sad that your cat is no longer with you, right, Betty?
Mm-hmm.
But tell us a
Off the
story.
rainbow
That
bird.
is how you got your name of your business is from your
Yeah.
cat. Right?
But I name everything after my cats. And
We
so
do
this is
everything
no
like
different. Betty I got him in college, and he was a real character, and he was just really, really funny. And he ended up being a really fantastic mascot. And he had his own Instagram with over 200 followers.
What?
I feel like it's a big deal for a cat.
Yeah.
I have to tell you that my first dog as like an adult, like the first dog I got on my own was a black lab named Betty.
Oh.
It is a good name.
Yeah, that is a good name.
It is a good name. That's really funny because I hadn't met anybody else that had like a pet named Betty. And so, but I don't have cats. I have dogs. I'm allergic to cats. I love cats, but I'm allergic to cats. And so we have all these dogs, and now all my dogs have names that start with a B because it started with Betty. And so now they've all had B names.
So you know the trick, like my mom had a cat after I was out of the house, and you know how cats do that whole like thing, like I don't know what you really would call that, where they like it's almost like a nurturing thing. Well, my Australian Shepherd does that. Dog.
Was he raised by cats?
Nope. She has a sibling too.
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding. I think that it was taken away too soon. So it like sucks on like a and he's 5, right? Aren't they 5?
2015.
We have
they're 5.5. Yeah.
Litter mates. But I have the boy who's gigantic, and it's supposed to be a miniature Australian Shepherd. But he literally at night, it's like it's totally a cat. It's like it's purring on the mom's, sucking on a mom's boob, baby, basically. Right? I mean, that's what they do. It's like this whole thing. And he does it. He has one toy, and we call it its baby. And he'll chew anything else up, but that one, he doesn't chew it up. He literally just sits it in his mouth and he does this.
Okay,
I'm like, his cat.
Well, his sister doesn't do that.
I know. I have a special animal.
Do you still have cats?
I do. I have 2.
What are your cats' names now?
I have Pearl and I have George.
Oh, I love the name Pearl.
Thanks.
And Georgie.
George is named after George Michael. His full name is.
Oh, nice. I love it.
I like that you said Betty was a boy, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell everybody like what your Instagram is, what your website, and then I want you to also tell listeners how to sign up for your whatever classes that
charm class.
Your classes that you're and do you have other ideas forward of other things?
Yeah. So my Instagram is at Bang at Betty. Pretty much all my social media is that. And bangupbetty.com. You can find everything there. And if you want to sign up for classes, it's just bangupbetty.com/classes. And I am working on new classes. I'm working on new jewelry. I'm always working on stuff. So I
So
feel like I'm constantly coming up with new jewelry to the point where it's like annoying.
do you have to constantly like write it down or you're going to forget the next day? You're like,
No,
oh, I have an
I have
idea.
like the creepy, awful elephant brain that never lets me forget anything.
Oh, I wish I had
I'm jealous.
that. I'm so jealous. So you're doing the online classes, but are you doing something different on Facebook though? Like Facebook Live stuff?
Oh, I was last year I did a lot of bingo games whenever COVID hit, and we did a bunch of really
Isn't
fun
that
bingo
weird
games
saying last year?
Yeah.
last year. But there might be some more bingo in the works. So I have, if you go to find me on Facebook, I have groups that you can join on there, and I've got the Crafty Betties where you can see all the workshops, and then I've got bingo, I think it's Bingo Betties, where you can get notifications about bingo games.
Oh my, like, what do you mean like bingo games? Like real bingo?
Yeah, like hold on, let me
I love bingo.
have to turn this off.
I love bingo. Like I've always wanted to go to like the old lady bingo place, like a hall, and I want to have charms.
Oh, I can totally see you doing that.
And I want like
Wonderful friends.
I want 10 bingo cards and charms.
No, shut up. So she's for real bingo.
I want to play bingo. So how do you get the card?
You
print
join
one
the
off?
group on Facebook and I send you cards. Like you just, if I have a bingo game, you just email me and I send you a card.
Oh my God, I want to play.
That's fantastic.
I'm not kidding. Like I seriously want to go somewhere where I can like be like on TV, where those TV people have like maybe a bobblehead and maybe like Lucky Charm or Rabbit's Foot. And I'm like, bingo, bitches. No, I was
You
so
can do it on the
excited.
internet
I know.
with
Yeah.
us. You can yell bingo bitches. We like that.
Bingo bitches. That's our team name. Bingo bitches.
Okay.
She's like, no, it's not.
I made a bingo chip necklace that said bingo bitches after the games too.
I love that.
There we go.
I like that. Okay, well, thank you so much for being on. And
Stacey, it was a pleasure to meet you.
looking
You
for
were
the bingo.
Do it. We're working on stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I mean, it's hard to like think of new things in the pandemic to what we've got going on. So
You mean like while we're all completely exhausted? Yes.
I know.
it is funny
mentally exhausted.
Isn't it funny how like, which I'm not at home anymore, but when I was shut down for 2 months, I was more tired then than I am now working, because your mind is just like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah.
But I mean, your wheels are turning. Like you have to think of new things because you can't get out there. And so it's harder. It's a harder thing, but I promise after we can kind of say it's over-ish, you'll probably do better. You know what I mean? Like you've put yourself out there more, right? Like I feel like most people are kind of like finding new things I don't know, just finding new things and ways to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
That's the hope, right?
Yes.
Hope
Doing
and
a lot of internet screaming this year.
I follow you on Twitter, and I quite enjoy you on Twitter as well.
Oh God, you follow me on Twitter. I'm sorry.
No,
I love it. Yeah.
My Twitter is where I go to like be a monster.
No, I think that's awesome.
I appreciate it. Even if you call that being a monster, I like it.
Yeah. I think that's great. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to maybe meeting you in person someday.
Someday.
Yes. Well, cheers to
congratulations on everything, and cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.